As we continue our coverage of the Mueller report, joining me now, Mike Emanuel, Fox News chief congressional correspondent. And Mike, as Capitol Hill awaits a briefing on the report from Attorney General Barr, probably or possibly today.
Sure.
Should reporters push back on partisans rushing to conclusions? I want to give you an example from each side. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal told MSNBC the facts and evidence here are likely to show a lot of criminality. Based on what?
Right. Exactly.
Member of the House Republican leadership, Steve Scalise. The only collusion was between Democrats and many in the media who peddled this lie because they continue to refuse to accept the results of the 2016 election, #witch hunt. So what is the role of journalists when lawmakers, politicians of either party just make these kind of declarations and none of us have seen the report?
Well, I think, in this Twitter era, there's this rush for instant gratification. You want to be able to say, Mueller report's a big nothing burger if you're a Republican. And Democrat, you want to say, well, I want to take a look at the finer print because maybe we can impeach the president. And so...
By the way, I think instant gratification, I think that applies to people who appear before cameras as well.
Sure.
Because we hate saying, we don't really know much, folks. You got to wait, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. Everyone wants to have a take, right?
Right. So I think as old school journalists...
Yes.
Print on the fingers, you want to make sure, do your homework. I want to read the report. I don't want to go tell people there's nothing here until I've actually read it and see for myself. And so I think you have to hold those accountable and say, well, how can you say that? You haven't seen the report yet, and that sort of thing. And so I think we have to be tough on them, and we have to be tough on ourselves.
We have to be tough on ourselves. I've got plenty of ink on my fingers, by the way, over the years. We do, and it's a very polarized audience. For example, new Fox News poll out today. Who do you trust to tell the truth on the Russia investigation? Democrats. 80% said Mueller, 2% said Trump. Republicans, 62% said Trump, 11% said Mueller. So I think that's one of the reasons that almost no matter what you or I report or our colleagues, you get a lot of flack from both sides, all sides.
No question about that. It was kind of interesting to see over the past couple of weeks you had the Democrats in the House kind of pivot away from Robert Mueller a bit to say, Gerald Nadler saying, I'm sending out 81 letters saying I need information, looking to broaden his investigation. Nancy Pelosi took some pressure off on the impeachment front, saying not now. And so, basically trying to give some cover, I think, to some of her moderates where impeachment may not play well in their district.
Right. Well, since you brought this up, since the Mueller investigation is now over, and we'll see what's in the report, but we know no more indictments, and that's significant. Do you see the press now covering the hell out of the Democratic investigations on the Hill, the investigation in New York, as a way of sort of filling the void that will be left by the end of the Mueller probe? And if so, is it possible that the public will lose some interest because Mueller was, the big enchilada?
Again, we have to read the report, but I think it'll be interesting to see if polling afterwards says the American public's had enough. 2 years of investigation, assuming there's not a bombshell in the report, does the polling suggest that American people want to move forward, allow the president to finish out his term, and then the 2020 campaign will kick off? And so, but that doesn't mean the Democrats will give up. As you know, the noisiest voices in the base quite often drive things. And so there may be a possibility of overreach if the American public's had enough and the loudest voices are saying, keep going.
Of course, other investigations should be covered. I'm just saying, is it going to be hour after hour after hour of nonstop coverage? Finally, would you think you're going to end up covering a battle over just how much from the report will be released, redaction, executive privilege? Is that the next twist in the partisan warfare here?
I think it's going to be interesting to see whether the White House says we need some executive privilege of some of the underlying documents. Interesting how many Republicans and Democrats have come out and said, yeah, we should all see the report.
By the way, President Trump said he had no problem with it being made public, but of course, the devil in the details, right?
Right, because he hasn't read it yet, and his team hasn't read it yet, right?
Right. Long day ahead for you, I suspect, especially if Mr. Barr makes his way from DOJ, where he is reported to be working this morning, up to Capitol Hill. Mike Emanuel, thanks very much for stopping by.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.